Hey guys, Art17 here, and I just recorded this whole video and then deleted it. So don't feel bad about making mistakes. I make them quite often. So anyway, here I go with my second attempt at this video. Of course, I don't have quite the enthusiasm I did before. Now I'm like, oh no, what did I just do? Okay, so we're in week 9. We're talking about assignment number 17, which is a personal logo or name design. I'm going to show 2 examples of that, and the homework is a light logic single light source with cast shadow. I'll show you an example of that as well. And that's what that is, but I'm going to talk about this first. So number 17 is either a personal logo or a name design. Really, they're kind of similar, except for the personal logo can be more stylized. I think it's a little bit more boring in some cases, but maybe you like it. You see ideas. There may be some art involved. There may be just a font involved. I would say do something more creative than not. And if you're going to choose this way to do it. So, in Bing, I put personal logo drawings. Some of these are cool, and some of them are kind of boring. So, they came up with a way of putting their, typically, either part of their name or just the initials. And you can do it this way if you like. Okay? Now I'm going to show you the cool name designs, which is more kind of like graffiti in a way. You see graffiti names out there and stuff. Well, not saying you have to do it like graffiti, but here are a bunch of ideas. A lot of big backgrounds, sometimes just the letters have art in them or design or pattern within them. And a background too would be cool. And pictures in there sometimes, and just designs and patterns and pictures. I mean, you can go through this forever, and it's got a lot of ideas. So check these out and make your own idea. Just use them as a reference or an influence and make your own thing happen. Okay? So, I mean, it goes on and on. Like, you can go through all this cool graffiti. Well, you can go the graffiti way if you want to. Here's some more ideas where the letters may have a lot of art to them, and then some in the background, or back and forth, one or the other. Really cool ideas. So come up with your own idea. You can color it if you like. Look at all these little things in here. This is really super cool. Sometimes you make the letters with the characters too. I don't see any here, but I've seen them where the letters could be trees or animals or something. They make something out of the letter itself. It goes on and on. There's a lot of these in here. Some are actually repeating themselves, as I see now. But, check it out and try to get your own idea. This is on Bing. It's not really slow right now because of where I am. But go in there and look at name designs of art. You can go back and forth. It goes on forever. And make up your own name design or a personal logo. When we're talking about light logic for the homework, typically it ends up being something like this, or an object where you can have different shading. So the ball starts with a light tone here, catching the light, gradually starts getting darker as it goes around. It's not suddenly that it changes. It gradually changes into the darker side. And then you have a reflection mark from the side, bottom of the table, the surface of the table. And then your cast shadow. Cast shadow isn't totally dark. Right here, it kind of dissipates. But the background is really good. And sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's light areas of the background. You can change the background a little from a light, dark, light areas. And then the table as well. Light here, a little darker, a little darker. And then the surface of the table or the background should be a darker or lighter tone than the subject so that they separate themselves. You have the subject obviously standing out and looking very 3D appearance. Egg shape or different than a ball, slightly same concept, okay? Let's look at some others that we can find here. It's a pretty good one. But what you're doing is you're showing your single light source. Single light source coming from this direction. It could come from that direction too. Kind of right above it. But then you have this cast shadow down here. This is a little harder to accomplish, I think. It's a little more difficult. But light, gradually light, a little darker, a little darker, a little darker, a little darker, until it starts going away from the light. And you're not seeing the light on there, but you have this reflection area down here from the surface of the table. Now, if you put a ball or an egg on the table with a single light source, you'll see all this. But it's got to be a single light source. And then you'll see it. So look at these examples. I think this is a little washed out in the top because it's like all of a sudden sort of goes dark there. This is more accurate, or showing the light source a little better, I think. And it's starting to get kind of obscure down here. So I would go with something like the ball or the egg and show your light source, show the cast shadow, show the reflection mark under here. And, you know, here's a breakdown of what you're doing: cast, shadow, reflected light, halftone, highlights. It's kind of hard to see, but okay, I think you get the idea with this one. Like if you put an egg on a table with a single light source like a lamp, you'll see all this. This is even more involved here because it has this dark area here, and then the reflected light off the table is hitting here. So it's kind of like this area that's darker here, and it gradually goes into these other tones. And then here. And so the reflected light is kind of a little above here. Depends on what surface you're putting it on and how brilliant you're going to catch reflected light. But the cast shadow is right here, showing that the light is hitting from the top left on the egg here. Okay, and it depends all on your light source how you're going to see and perceive all the shadowing. But there is a lot of levels of tone here, if you notice. With this, there's like, here's 10 from totally black to white. Here's 8 in the middle, from dark to light. So that's what you're after, all those tones. You want to put all those tones in there. If the light is really on the other side of the ball, mostly, it would look like this maybe, and then coming out. You can get this accomplished with a whole bowl of fruit if you want to. I'm just asking for the egg or the ball, but you know, this is the same idea: single light source with cast shadow back here. Light is hitting over here. You can tell by the orange. Mostly, these are kind of, they're not showing that as well. That's why if you just want to focus on the egg or the ball, then fine. Just do that. but I want to see all those highlights and reflection areas and cast shadow on the table. Okay? All right. I'll talk with you next week. Please get your work in. If you haven't already sent all your prior assignments, we're starting to get a little on here. I'm going to send a midterm grade out, and I'll let you know in an email when that is. Maybe this weekend or maybe next week when I assess everything that you've turned in so far. All right, thank you.